Right. So we've talked about what business is. It's traded value. We've talked about how to change someone's perception of value. We've talked about how to lay the foundation and sort of build that foundation of trust for a business. Now, those are foundational concepts, and you needed to understand them in order to dive into this next topic we're going to talk about. This is the core foundational background of business. This is what is going to determine whether a business is successful or not, right? You understand some of the key components, but I'm gonna break it down. This is where we start talking about math. It's not crazy math, but it is math, right? As the great Harambe said, again, not Harambe, some other person probably. Nothing can really fix bad math. At the foundation, if the math doesn't work for the business, then the business just isn't going to work, right? So let's talk about how to do this. There are two simple factors that are what determine how much a business will make ever, right? Like this is what separates a good business from a bad business. And we can really boil it down to these two factors. The first one is the amount of profit generated by a customer. So like you have one customer, how much value does your average customer give you, right? This is often called the lifetime value. I usually abbreviate as LTV, lifetime value. And the other thing is the number of customers they help. So how many customers do you help? So if you make $10 of profit per customer and you help 100 customers, you now have helped, you've generated $1,000 of value, right? For yourself, right? You increase those two and you're going to get what you want. Obviously, you need both, right? You can't just do one. If you have, let's say you made $100,000 per customer, but you could only ever help one customer in your entire life, right? Like sure, $100,000 is great, but that's you can't really repeat that. You could never have millions and millions of dollars with this business. You'd have to look elsewhere, right? Same way the other way around, right? If you only generated like 1 cent per customer, even if you had 1 million customers, you'd only ever make like $10,000, right? Tiny, right? You need both. You need to combine both. Imagine if you sort of combine both. You had a high LTV and you had high scale. If you're able to make $10,000 per customer and you had 100,000 customers, we generate $1 billion, right? That's how $1 billion of revenue is created, right? You can think about this. Think about the businesses that help people on a high, whether like for example, let's take Apple, right? Fairly high lifetime value. Your average customer, let's say, over their lifetime will probably spend $10,000 on Apple products, maybe less, who knows? But they're helping millions and millions of customers, right? Like they actually have millions of customers. So you can see why they are a very valuable company. Now let's think about the for example, the lemonade stand up the street in your neighborhood. Some kid is selling lemonade for $1 a glass, and he's going to sell to 5 people, right? Small company worth $5 in revenue. Negative, if you think about the cost of goods, it's actually probably negative profit. So these are the key foundational levers. Whenever you sit down and look at a business, just ask yourself, okay, what's the lifetime value per customer and what's the scale? How many people are they selling? And how could they increase this? How could they increase their lifetime value? How could they increase their scale, right? These are the two main mathematical levers you can play with to help them grow as a business, to have a successful business, right? You want to maximize both. Typically speaking, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here. You want to increase that lifetime value first. That way, when you go out and find a customer, because finding a customer is expensive and difficult, it's worth it for you. There's a big ROI per customer, right? But again, you should be able to sit down. I want you to start doing this. Tate always talks about this with coffee shops. You go sit down in a coffee shop, start analyzing the business as a professional, and trying to see how they could increase this, what vulnerabilities exist. I want you to start doing this with all the businesses you've interacted with. Think about the lifetime value. Think about the scale, right? Think about how they could change or increase one or the other, right? Those are the two basic foundational mathematical levers you need to pull in any business you're working on if you want to help them increase their sales. You can do this for yourself, you can do this for other businesses you work with. You need to figure out how to increase lifetime value, help more people at a higher level, and then scale. Help as many people as possible, put as many people through that sort of lifetime value machine. So I'm going to talk about in the next video how you can actually then increase that lifetime value, because that's really the big trick. That's the first thing you got to do. You got to get that right first, and then scale gets really easy. I'm going to talk about how to start increasing lifetime value in the next video.